Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Misa and I am crazy about helping you enhance your foundation routine, which is why today's video is specifically about how to apply foundation for beginners. I can't believe I don't have anything like this on my channel. I honestly feel like, who am I to tell someone how to apply foundation, because makeup is so, I don't know, it's different for everyone. I'm not a professional makeup artist. I am a makeup enthusiast. Yeah, I just kind of felt like out of my element. But then I was thinking, I'm like, no, I have some tips and some tricks that I use on my complexion and I want to share them with you. So if you're new and you are learning how to apply makeup, or you just are looking to really enhance your foundation routine, then go ahead and keep on watching. I'm filming in the morning, and so I just love the afternoon lighting if kids aren't awake, and that's the key here. All right, so when you're picking a foundation, usually depending on what that foundation finish is will determine if you're going to use a sponge, a foundation brush, things like that. So if you're using something lighter weight, like a tinted moisturizer, definitely use a brush, because this will get sucked up so fast by a beauty sponge, but will just blend out really beautifully and give you that coverage, that light coverage that you want really easily with a brush. Now, if we're talking about something more thick, like the Milani Conceal and Perfect, I like to use a sponge with this because it's giving me a really lightweight application. And with lightweight application, we are going to still get that coverage with this foundation, but we're not going to get that creasing. We're not going to look cakey. Because let's just be honest, that's not what we want. I honestly feel like it's just practice, like just depending on like when you get new foundation, you'll try it out with a sponge, you'll try it out with a brush, then you'll be able to tell which finish is more flawless after that first use, if you should go in with a brush or a sponge. And there are several foundations that you can go in with either or, it doesn't really matter. I will make a video though on how to choose your color, your undertone for foundation, and what finish you should, not should choose, that you want to choose. But today we are going in with the Milani Conceal and Perfect. This is it's a medium to full coverage foundation. I really like it. I feel like it applies really well, beautifully, and it's super affordable. I think it's $9.99, but Ulta is always having a sale, so you can always get this for less. Before we go in with any foundation, what I like to do though is to prime my skin. That's going to be really important. This is going to be different depending if you have dry skin, normal skin, oily skin. I personally have dry skin, sometimes normal skin. It just depends. Mainly dry though. And so I like to go in with a couple things. This is the Cheer Up Pharmacy eye cream. You don't have to use an eye cream. In fact, be really picky with your eye creams, because you can probably just use your regular moisturizer and just dab that underneath your eyes, depending how they're feeling, if they're dry. Next item is the primer. Now, I am just absolutely obsessed with the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer Oil. It has really, it's just been like my favorite, it's probably been my favorite product this year. But I just take a couple drops and tap that over my skin, just like that. One of you actually told me that the NYX, I think it's called the Hydra Touch oil, is like an exact dupe. So I'll have that link down below. I personally haven't tried it. One of these little bottles literally lasts forever. I think I opened this at the beginning of the year. If you have oily skin, I definitely go in with a mattifying primer. You're just gonna have to decide and choose what works best for you. But like I said, experimentation is key. Your makeup's gonna turn out different every day. So if one day it doesn't turn out exactly how you want, don't worry, you always have tomorrow. Okay, now that we have our primer on, let's go in with the foundation. The key here is to apply a thin layer to get the most coverage, if that's what we want, with the least amount of product. So going in with my beauty sponge, I actually have amazing affordable beauty sponges that I love. They're from Amazon. They're like 5 for $9 and they're awesome. So what I do is I like to just kind of start on the sides of my face and see how that's applying. Like, look how much coverage that has. Crazy, right? But I want my skin to still be able to breathe and not look heavy. I always like to bring foundation to my ear if my ears are showing. And I just like to use really soft, I don't know about soft, stippling motions. I'm doing is I'm focusing on the outer edge of my face, and then with the remaining product that I have on my sponge, I take onto like my nose and where creasing happens, because I really just want barely any product on my nose and in between my brows because that is where I crease the most. Forehead, I also like to be really careful. I went in with definitely lesser product. And what you can do when you've applied product with this point of the sponge, you can blend out with this point of the sponge if you feel like you still have too much product. So now I'm getting into between my brows and I just want to be careful. I do like to apply concealer over my brows. I want everything to kind of look the same skin tone. I take more product, pretty much whatever's left on my hand, and I like to bring it down my neck. Just be careful with what shirt you are wearing. Always be mindful of that. I usually just get ready in like an old t-shirt, something I really don't care about, and then I'll change after I've done my makeup and I'm ready to go. This is the side that I have completed. You can definitely see I do have a little bit of lighter skin on my neck. Now let's go in with a brush. I have two options. I have a lot of affordable favorite foundation brush options, which I will just have linked down below. But because I am almost out of all clean brushes, I am down to these two. So this is the Real Techniques Light Layer Complexion. The bristles aren't as packed, which means it's going to be applying foundation really, really lightly, but which also means it can apply it more streaky. Just kind of have to be careful with that. And then I have this one by Makeup by Mario times Sephora, which of course isn't available anymore, but this is the one I'm actually going to be using. Now when I am using a brush, I do like to just put a little bit of product on there and just go right in. The way you're holding me, no, I don't want this moment to stop. You will notice right away that using a brush tends to be way faster, way faster. I know a lot of people that do go in with a brush and then they go in with their beauty blender just to soften some areas. That is a great idea. And I always like to just be really careful with the amount of product I am bringing on my forehead. We won't regret it. So come with me, maybe we're meant to be a perfect melody, and I don't want this moment to stop. See, with this foundation in particular, brush or beauty blender works incredibly well. Look at this brush side and then look at this sponge side. They both look beautiful. None of each side doesn't look, if anything, the sponge does offer less coverage, so I can see just more freckles right here, while on this side you can't. You could go in with another layer if you want to. I kind of recommend not to unless you really do need more coverage, just because you do want your skin to breathe and you want it to look light and more skin-like. Now let's go in with a concealer. I'm pretty picky with concealer, and you should be too, because underneath that eye area, you definitely don't want it to crease. You don't want it to be the star of the show. You really want to pick a concealer that's going to illuminate and kind of center your face and highlight those areas that you really want to highlight. So one of the ones I recommend is this Revlon Candid concealer. I think it's amazing, and this is in the shade light medium. I don't feel like this is too heavy. I feel like it's really easy to apply, and it's really, really, really blendable. For me to get that perfect, not perfect, but the best concealer application, it's Beauty Blender all the way. Unless you're crunched for time, but if you have the time and you want that flawless look, use the Beauty Blender. And you really don't have to use a lot of concealer. This I can take, I like to start in the inner corner, and then some of that product is on the sponge, and that's what I use to illuminate my forehead. I don't use concealer per se to cover blemishes. The only dark circles I'm really covering are underneath my eyes because I really want to brighten those up. Everything else I'm using to center the face, like my chin, I want that brought forward. Forehead, we want that brought forward. And if I'm doing eyeshadow, I'll bring it up onto the lid. See, that just looks really seamless. Always keep in mind that when you're using concealer or anything lighter, that's basically what you're using to bring the forward. So I'm trying to bring my eyes and the center of my face forward. Now when I go in with my contour, I'm bringing certain things back. And that's with anything, eyeshadow. Now, if you are someone that really likes cream products, this is the time that you would go in with your cream bronzer, your cream blush, cream highlight, things like that before you go in with the powder. I personally am obsessed with the Fenty Beauty cream bronzer, and this is in the shade Teddy. And I really like to apply this with a brush. That is how you get the most payoff and the most blendability. I'll film a little bit of it. I don't know if you guys even really want to see this, but I guess it is part of the foundation routine.
together, making out, making out. It's all about us. It's all about us. There's a magic in your eyes, can't get enough. I can't get enough.
And this is what it looks like with that bronzer. I think it just looks really hydrating. I did a little bit of a nose contour. It just blends out really, really well. Now for the powder. This is like one of the most important parts if you are planning on setting your foundation. Usually if you have a matte foundation, you can get away with not setting it, but I always recommend setting your concealer because that's kind of what creases. A really affordable option is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus. Oh my gosh, my battery. Hold on, I gotta change the battery. Battery changed. So the Photo Focus translucent powder is amazing if you need something affordable, lightweight, hydrating. I personally am obsessed with this Hourglass Veil translucent powder. Honestly, you can't really tell a huge difference between the two, except I think this one has better ingredients. So I just take a little bit of that on this little pointed brush, and it's kind of like this little dome shape. And so when you go in there to set your concealer, it applies just like a really nice light layer and just doesn't look heavy at all. And if you're going in with some eyeshadow, gotta set above the eye. Ta-da! Super, super easy. Am I just boring you guys with all this information? I've been avoiding doing a video like this for a really long time because I'm like, who wants to sit and watch every single detail? If you're like me, I turn on YouTube makeup channels and I just have it like on as background noise. Sometimes I really pay attention and sometimes I'm just going crazy doing the laundry, things like that. Now the last part of the base, really, is a press setting powder. We want something lightweight that is going to really set everything down, especially since I went in with that cream bronzer. Also, to not suck out all the moisture from our skin. On this channel, I've talked about it a million times. I'm just a huge fan of the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Press Powder. This can be pricey. This size in particular is $50, but I bought this a few months ago and look, I'm still have a lot of product left. And it's one of those things that's totally, I mean, it's just worth the money. People with dry skin is a game changer. So I like to take a really big, fat, fluffy brush. That's like the key to this. And this is the Morphe x Jaclyn Hill JH01, but I will have a couple other options linked down below because there are a lot. And I just go like this and I pat. Really concentrating on the areas that I know I'm going to need to blend out some extra bronzer. So hard to go overboard with this. You just usually don't. And do a little bit in my nose. And there you have it. You can see the luminosity coming through. You see that? That's what Hourglass is known for, is their ambient lighting technology, which just delivers like this 3D effect, and it really is glorious. I am going to hop off camera and do the rest of my makeup. I will be right back. The finished look. Super simple, super easy. I will have all the products that I used linked down below in case you're wondering about any of those products. Really quickly though, the setting mist. So I use this ColourPop Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Acid Setting Mist. This is such a great setting spray, especially if you have dry skin, to just melt in product. That's really where a lot of your base is going to benefit from, because we have layers of powders. We have that foundation, setting powder, bronzer, brush, and blush, not brush, blush. And we need something that's going to just melt them all together to make something really seamless. And this one has just been by far one of my favorites this year. Such a great option. And I just, waffles. Ooh. So this is what the finished look looks like. I'm all ready now to go to the gym and take care of my kids. They're starting to wake up. But I love how it turned out, and filming this was super fun, getting into detail. And then if you have any questions or anything that I missed, please put them in the comments down below or DM me on Instagram and I will get right back to you. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this helpful, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.